often, Brad, I do forget to press the other button, you know, so people are queuing up outside trying to get in and they're going, how come this isn't starting on time? But we're about 30, 40 seconds early today, but that's no harm. See, that's the organization you bring to us, Brad, you know, that we
Starting 30 seconds early.
no, normally we're running a little bit behind, but you're all very welcome. It's what's it like there in Barnsley, Brad? It's dark here.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's pitch black here. Yeah,
It's winter time, isn't it? Or the winter's coming.
pretty miserable.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I did watch Game of Thrones.
What did you think?
Of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
The best 6 seasons of TV ever, and then 2 seasons of bitter disappointment.
You didn't like the ending then?
No, but I think that's the popular opinion.
Right. Okay. So okay. Well, you know, for me, it was sort of. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
I liked who was the hero in the end, you know. But we won't spoil it for people who haven't watched it yet. But do watch it, guys. It's good fun if you haven't watched it yet. But anyway, Brandon, we're not here to talk about Game of Thrones, are we?
I mean, no, but Barnsley is pretty much the north. We are the north.
Yeah, I'm curious about some of the writers. Like, did they base it on that? Because you do have that, you know, the north thing going on over there in the UK, and
I think it was based on our War of the Roses. It took a lot of inspiration from our English Civil War.
Right. Okay. I don't know. Is that me beeping or is that you, Brad?
That was you.
Was it me? I'm sorry if I beeped. I didn't mean to beep. Could you hear it?
Yeah, I could hear it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Anyway, we better get rocking and rolling. So, Brad, we're going to share a few slides, but we're going to have a conversation, right? Because you and I hear this all the time. We hear that Facebook is dead, right? So you hear this a lot, don't you, Brad?
All the time. All the time. I see it in groups all the time.
And we know it's not. So, you know, we were just playing on the words here a little bit, guys. But that doesn't mean now you leave. You're not allowed to leave, because we're going to explain the reasons why it's not dead. But we're also going to explain the reasons why many think it's dead, because there's a difference, isn't there, between knowing something and thinking something.
Yeah.
Because Facebook, believe it or not, this year it's 16 years old, Brad. Did you know that?
I did not actually know.
16 years old, because you were saying to me before in a previous conversation about, you know, in 2014, this is how Facebook used to work for me in my photography business. And, you know, 2014, so it was only 10. So it hadn't even gone through that teenage years, right? And we all know what we go through as teenagers. But Brad, we never introduced you. I assumed everyone already knows you. Just in case people don't know you, you better just tell people who you are and your background in the photography business and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm Brad. I run a studio in the north of England in Barnsley. So we're a third generation family run business, been going, I think it's our 42nd year in business. So we shoot mostly family boudoir at the studio, and I'm currently a mentor for BSA. So I'm helping teach other photographers how to master Facebook and, you know, get leads, get clients, get sales.
Excellent. And April just says, I don't know about the UK, but millions of Americans are leaving Facebook. All of my friends are switching platforms because of American politics. Yeah, there's a bit of that going on, April, and there always will be, because earlier in the year we had the same, but actually the latest numbers are showing that the users on Facebook is still increasing. And we're going to share some of that, because I'm glad you brought that up for us, April, because, you know, for me, as everyone who knows me, you know, the data is what tells you everything. You know, everything comes back to a number. So believe it or not, of all the websites in the world, and Google is a website, right? And YouTube is a website. So anything that's on the internet is a website. And Facebook is the world's third most visited website. In fact, 71%. So out of every 10 people you meet in the street, more than 7 of them are on Facebook, and that's adults. It has 2.41 billion monthly active users. So what's an active user? So an active user is somebody who actually uses it on a regular basis. Because you know those apps that are on your phone and you never open them? So If you don't use it, you're not an active user. So, we all have scenarios. I don't know if you're, Brad, my phone's full of apps that I never use. Are you the same?
Yeah, tell me about it. I get loads of notifications. It drives my partner insane whenever she's on my phone. And sees loads of unread notifications from apps I no longer use.
So here's a piece then that people often don't realize, is so in the age ranges, how many people use Facebook? So 46% of over 65-year-olds use Facebook. My dad's 80 now, and he uses Facebook. He loves his Facebook. And my mum is 76. She uses it to a lesser degree, but dad has it sussed. But when you go down, then you look at, where your customers are. So if we take, Brad, the average age of somebody getting married in the UK, it's about 33 or 4 years of age, right? I think when we were looking at those stats. So that, nearly 8 out of every 10 of those, 4 out of 5 are on Facebook. And then, in parts of the US, of course, people get married at different times. So in New York, it's more than 30. Then there's parts of Texas and some other kinds where the average age of people get married is 19 or 20. So 19 and 20, where are they? 7.6 out of 10 of them are on Facebook because they're 18 to 24. The average age for a newborn, Brad, in the UK is 35. I think it's 31 to get married and 35. I had them mixed up. 35 to have a baby.
I think it's 28, 29 in the UK.
Is it 28 or 29?
It's flipped, hasn't it? Now you have the baby, then get married. Before you used to get married and have the baby.
Yes. So in my era, so I'm Generation X. So we used to have this poem when we were growing up. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby in a carriage. But now that's all switched. It's now first comes love, then baby, and maybe marriage. So, it's all flipped that way. But that's okay too. But here's the bit that I like most. So on average, a user on Facebook per month likes 13 posts. That's 13. And that's hard for an Irishman to say 13. But here's the more important one, that an average Facebook user clicks on 11 ads per month. So that means while they're socially interacting, catching up on what friends are doing on Facebook, when an advertiser puts an ad in front of them, on average, people are clicking 11 times a month on those ads. What do you think of those stats, Brad? Is there anything surprising you in those stats?
I think the biggest surprise is a lot of people don't think 18 to 24-year-olds, like the younger generation, aren't using Facebook. But they do. They just don't post. It's their news. That's how the younger generations get their news. I mean, for us as photographers and marketeers, that's just something to be aware of for 5-10 years down the line when they actually become our customers. Because
Absolutely. And here's then the other data. Facebook's dead. Really? We marketeers don't use Facebook? Really? Look at the projected ad spend and how it's been going. So even in this pandemic year, there's been 31.43 billion spent on Facebook advertising by companies, up from 29.95. Now, I know the growth has slowed, So the growth in 2018 was up 36% in the previous year, and 2019 was 26%, and it's dropped this year. But look where it's projected to go, Brad. 2021, up to 38.35 billion. 2022, 45 billion. So there's going to be nearly 50% more than this year spent on Facebook advertising in 2 years' time. I think that indicates that Facebook isn't dead for marketing, right?
Yeah, if anything, Facebook will be the platform for marketing for the next few years.
And here's a key stat, and when I discovered this stat in all my research, it sort of surprised me in some ways that Facebook provides 80.4% of referrals from social media to e-commerce. So of all e-commerce done, referrals that go to e-commerce from social media, 80.4% of referrals are from Facebook. And here's another stat that surprised me, is the number of advertisers on Facebook. So this is the number of advertisers in million. So you can see this year alone in Q2, it was 9 million. Is that 9 million, Brad? My eyesight's terrible. But and the previous one it was 8, and last year it was 7 for 2 quarters. So the data doesn't lie, guys. Facebook wouldn't be growing its ad revenue. I wouldn't be growing the number of companies advertising if it was dead. It has changed though, but it's not dead. And we get into how it's changed in a few moments. So here's something we hear all the time, isn't it, Brad? I don't know. Do you know what, Brad? If I had a euro, pound, or dollar, either of them, I'm not fussy about the currency. For every time a photographer told me you can't find high-paying clients on Facebook, I wouldn't be here now. I'd be retired. I would.
Yeah.
Do you hear it often?
All the time. All the time. It comes to the territory that again, a lot of photographers think that it's only for the shoot and burn, but it's not. It's for everybody, no matter what part of the market you're in. And in fairness, it works better for more higher end photographers than it does for anybody else, because your ROI is insane. Your return on investment is far better than anybody else.
So April is asking how recent is this data? So the last data in the last slide is up to the end of Q2. So it's a couple of months old. Some of the data is from 2019. So it's changing all the time, April. So but it's the most recent data that we can find as to what's happening. So here we go, high income earners. So you'll see here high income earners as to where they're broken out. So the graph in the top right is US dollar based. So you can see here that it's pretty standard across all these, in fact, from people who earn less than $30,000 a year up to people who earn more than $100,000 a year. It's plus 80% all the way across there. So the high income earners are there. These three brackets are 75,000 plus, 80 to 100,000 and 100,000 plus. It's over 80%. So what does that mean? It means that out of every 5 customers earning that sort of money, 4 plus are on Facebook. So if you can't find high income earners, if that's one of your categories for finding clients, they are there. You just need to have the process to find them. And then Brad, I'd say you hear this, do you, from our English clients, our British clients? That's US stuff. That doesn't apply here, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I had to go out of my way to find the data for the UK. So in the UK, a high earner is characterized by somebody earning over £48,000 a year. And again, 81% or 82%, I can't read that small number, is on Facebook. So it's over that 4 out of 5 one again. So we've put to bed, Brad, I think, 3 important things here. One, that the high income earners are on Facebook. Your challenge as a marketeer is to connect with them and bring them into your world. We've put to bed that Facebook is dead from a marketing platform point of view because everything is growing in it. And we've put to bed the idea that that marketeers, real marketeers, don't use Facebook. And Brad, we never claimed that Facebook is a silver bullet on its own, right? We were familiar with the marketing mix and all that. Yeah. But Brad, you run a boudoir studio, and this was a very interesting one for you. Is that of all the hashtags, the most talked about thing on Facebook, it's actually International Women's Day.
Yeah, no, that really surprised me. Out of all the hashtags, I thought we'd get the most traction. I did not think it would be International Women's Day, but it is. So I can use that in my marketing.
So Brad, you do a lot of boudoir, right? So you see this relevant to your boudoir marketing, but then there's a lot of photographers who do the fashion style shoots and all that. This is something you can absolutely play on with your marketing next year, because your audience on Facebook is going to be talking about it already.
Yeah.
So, we teach all the time, and we learn from the likes of Mike Michalowicz, with Surge, is that how you get successful with your business is if you can ride a wave that you don't create. So if you can latch on to a wave that someone else has created, it makes the marketing so much easier. And this is a wave that so many photographers can latch on to. So Brad, let's just discuss, I'm going to stop the share. Let's just discuss for a few minutes why, in your experience, because you talk to a lot of photographers as I do, why they think Facebook is dead.
It all comes down to about when I first started using Facebook. The platform has changed massively. Like back in 2014, when I was advertised on Facebook, and a lot of photographers I knew back then were advertised on Facebook, it was easy. It was the easiest marketing, easiest money we could ever earn. I didn't have a clue on how to write copy or what images to use or how to build a funnel or use any of the pixels or Facebook targeting or what audience to use. You could just put a post up and boost it, or put a post up and run a post engagement advert. And, your ads would go, you get a load of traction because just like that, one of those previous slides showed that there were hardly any advertisers, there were very few. So you'd get loads of reach. It were back in the days of organic reach. The ads just worked. And it's one of those things where if something works, you got to spend more money on it. At the time, I didn't know that. So our budget was £1,500 for the year, when in reality that's kind of our budget a month now. And that if I was spending that a month back then my business would be huge right now. I'd have really capitalized on that. So and people don't realize that from then to now there's a lot more skill involved. There's you have to kind of know what you're doing. And doing the same stuff you were doing years ago doesn't work. I see loads of posts saying, Facebook's dead, just ran a boosted post, put £20 on it, got nothing. And it's like, well, you won't. Facebook will happily take your money. Zuckerberg will happily take your money and go spend it on T-shirts or,
And one of the things that's interesting, Brad, is, Facebook encourage you to boost posts, right?
Yeah, they do, yeah. It's like I think that's their little lead magnet. Using some marketing jargon. That's their easy in for newbie advertisers to use the platform, is to boost the post. Quick tip: never do that. Never boost posts. There's only one caveat to that, and is if you want to reach people who already like your page. That's the only time I'd ever use a boosted post.
Okay.
Again, years ago, loads of organic traffic. Now, nothing.
So, Brad, what's organic traffic? Because there might be some people who don't quite understand the lingo.
Yeah. So organic traffic is when, back then we used to run a page where we built our page up really strong with several thousand people who followed us. Every post we put up onto our page, the vast majority of those people would see it. They'd all comment on it. They'd all share it. Our organic traffic would sometimes be in the tens of thousands, maybe even hit 100,000. A lot of the times I was running adverts and our organic traffic was larger than our paid traffic. And in those days, you used to have like a little orange bar. It was a yellow bar, and part of it was colored in orange to indicate organic compared to paid. And it was all organic. And Facebook kind of cottoned on to that and thought, we really should pull this back. And so they did. And it's been going downhill ever since. And now if you want to get any reach, and you want to put ads out or posts out in front of people, you have to pay.
So it's when Facebook started to monetize their platform, right? Yeah. So because I think you were saying 2014 that was working for you, and in our business it was the same. But Facebook was only 10 then, right? So hadn't even gone through those teenage years, which we're all familiar with. But it's 16 now, so it's a young adult now. So not only has the platform matured, the users have matured, and the advertising on Facebook has matured to a level that you need to be more structured in your systems and all that. But it's still a really great platform to generate leads and bookings from, right? Can you just talk to us a little bit about that as to what what it's done for your business.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's changed a lot, and you have to come at it from like a professional standpoint now, and as opposed to kind of shooting from the hip, like I used to do. But Facebook still works better for us now than it ever has done. It's enabled us to have consistent growth. Because that was always a struggle for our business to grow it. What was to get consistent bookings and consistent leads. Because all the other stuff we were doing, and we still do, but it was never like I could turn an advert on, knew exactly how many people it would go out to, knew exactly how many bookings I'd get, and I could rinse repeat that every month, every year. So it gave us that consistency and enabled us to grow.
So I think what you're saying to us is it gave you control of your marketing.
Yeah,
That
100%.
okay, and so before you were reliant maybe on other leads for bookings and sources and buying data or whatever, which could lead to sort of fluctuations in your business. Because one thing you've talked to me about before is, you've managed to take seasonality. There's always a little bit of seasonality, but you've managed to take seasonality out of your business in the main. Is that right?
Yeah, so we used to always have quiet periods. January was always quiet, August was always quiet, and then Christmas was always, really, really busy. That's just, plateaued flat out now. Our income will only be slightly down for like the first week of January. Other than that, we've kind of hit a consistent, tone to it. Even in November, December, it enables you to be consistent. And take that fluctuation out. But back before Facebook, we were heavily reliant on Groupon. We rode that Groupon wave as far as we could, and then pretty much overnight they were like, "Yeah, we're not advertising photographers in the UK anymore. You're not going to be featured. Goodbye." So then our source of marketing just disappeared. So then that's when I had to kind of heavily and more seriously look at using Facebook as our lead generation.
So you were sort of, you'd no choice. It was figure it out or risk going bust.
I didn't want the bookings; we needed them. so it was a definite motivation to figure out how to make it work.
And you spent a lot of time studying this and learning from the best in the industry and everything else. And you have strategies that you deploy in your business that we can talk about a little bit later, because I know we have some examples of what you've used and how you use it in your business, and we're happy to share that with everybody. But before that, I want to just delve into why Facebook works, because there's obviously the doing and the strategy and the tactics to do it. But those who know me know that I regard why being the second most important word in the world after profit. So profit's the most important, and then is why. So I always ask, why do these things work? And what's the science behind it? And is there anything that you can deep dive into? And I was lucky enough when I did my last master's in 2009-10, I studied online buying process. And when I studied that and I joined the dots with Facebook in answering that question, it showed me a whole lot of things. And I want to share that with you tonight because I think it's relevant. And then Brad is going to then explain some of the systems he uses in order to make sure his studio is full all year long with higher paying clients. So let me just share this with you. And we'll talk a little bit about that as to why does Facebook work. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to give you the why from my research as to why Facebook works. And one of the key things to consider is your client's buying process. So just so we're clear on this, your client's buying process is your selling process. And the buying process for a client breaks down into 7 steps. The first step is they have to become aware they have a need for your service. So whether that's getting my hair done or buying a wedding dress or booking a photographer, it doesn't matter what it is, I've got to become aware as the buyer that I have that need. And then what most of us do after we're aware we have a need today is we go to Google, don't we? And we search to build our knowledge around this area, to understand to do the research so that we don't ask a stupid question and we understand that we've a chance of picking the right person. And as we build our knowledge around it, then we progress to the next step, which is the consideration stage, which is, okay, I've become aware I need this. So now I've built my knowledge around it by doing all the research on Google. And now I have a shortlist. I have a shortlist of 3 newborn photographers. Let's say it's newborn photographers that I want to book. So I'm at that consideration stage. And the next stage then is the selection, or where I actually make the booking with a photographer. So I may partner a session fee or whatever, but that's where I am. So I'm at the selection stage. So I'm at the purchase or trial stage. Then after that, then when someone purchases, and these are the 3 circles a lot of people forget about too on the back end, is that a buyer, to become an advocate, to become a raving fan of yours, they need to be satisfied, become loyal, and only then do they become an advocate. So you got to have strategies at the back end of the sales process too, to ensure that you walk your client, your buyer, through the satisfaction, loyalty, and advocacy stage. So they're the post-purchase 3 steps. But tonight we're going to concentrate on the pre-purchase steps, because it's important to understand how this works on Facebook versus how it works on other inquiries that you get into your business. And we all talk in this industry about this logical brain versus emotional brain, or the creative right side of the brain. And many educators teach you, don't they, as to how to get your client into an emotional state when they're in the viewing sales room. You know, it's down to the language you use, it's down to the decor, it's down to having the smell of the coffee, it's down to having flowers in the corner, it's down to having their name on a chalkboard as they walk in, welcoming them. It's down to the slideshow to music that you play. You know, we work really hard to switch the person into an emotional state prior to they making their decision as to what images they buy. So the question that Brad and I and everyone at BSA consider all the time, so why should that be any different with our marketing? And is there a stage in marketing, different marketing tactics, that has a person in a logical left brain state versus an emotional, creative right brain state? And here's what we believe. But before we get there, we want to explain a little concept that we use in BSA. Brad, we like to talk about ideal clients, right? That they're gold, right?
Yeah.
Because ideal clients are gold, right? And Brad, you've panned for gold, or is it Janine that's panned for gold before?
No, I've also panned for gold.
Right.
I think it was pretend gold, but I panned for pretend gold.
So when you were panning for gold, have you ever found pyrite?
Not me, not personally, no.
No. So pyrite, guys, is fool's gold. So pyrite looks like real gold, but it's not. But there's a way to distinguish it. And what we have done is we've sort of aligned the idea of ideal client gold being real gold and pyrite fool's gold being a different lead source. And if you think of a pyrite question, because Brad, if I had a pound, a euro, or a dollar for every time I see this on a forum, I'd be a multi-millionaire, not just a millionaire.
Yeah.
And that is, why do clients always lead with the question, what do you charge for? It's the price question, isn't it? And there's so many tactics that we learn as businesses to switch people away from that logical and get them talking about why they want a photography session and building that emotional state. But the reason why they're at this stage is where they are in their buying process. And we'll talk about that in a second. So, of course, you can turn leads that are in that logical state into an emotional state and bring them into your world. But it's an extra step you have to take in the process. And most of these inquiries will come from people who've already become aware that they want a photographer, have done their research online, so visited a whole of the photographers' websites to understand what the process is and what the pricing might be, and they've gone to forums and they've discovered all that. And now you're on their shortlist. You're on their shortlist of potential suppliers. And that's why they lead with the question, and what do you charge for? Okay. But Facebook is slightly different, and we'll get to that now in a second. So if we go back to the buyer's process, so when your client is in that logical brain and they lead with that pyrite question, what do you charge for? They've already become aware they have a need. They're already knowledgeable and built knowledge about who the potential suppliers are. And you are now on the shortlist. And they're in logical brain mode because they are contacting you, whether that's on Facebook or by Messenger or by email or on the phone, saying, what do you charge for? And Brad, this is something that you've noticed a lot with photographers, that a lot of photographers spend a lot of their marketing time on their website, blogging, SEO, Google AdWords. And we're not saying that's not important, right? No. But what we're saying is every single one of those activities are driving inquiries at this consideration stage.
Yeah, they are. And it's a real epiphany for me to kind of piece it all together in that 8 out of 10 of all our online inquiries that come to us organically, that have manually searched us. One of their questions, if the first question, question is always is, what do you charge? How much is the 8x10? How much is the 8x6? How much are your digitals? It's just common questions that people ask, and they're not sending that to you. They're sending it to a whole host of other photographers, and I guarantee that you won't be the cheapest. Our market is that wide that you got people charging all over the shop. I guarantee that you won't be the cheapest. And if you're not the cheapest, then in that consideration phase, based on pure logic, they're not going to pick you. And in all honesty, that's pretty good for your business, because they're pyrite, they're not your ideal client anyway.
So there are photographers out there, Brad, and we have to accept that, right? That who are really, really good at converting people back from that logical to the thing, and will convert them. So we're not saying that you don't spend time on this, but what we're saying is you shouldn't spend the majority of your marketing time on building your website, your blogging, your SEO, and your Google AdWords.
Yeah,
it's an extra thing to have. And Brad, how much, if you take your total time you spend on marketing, because you do the marketing for your business, how much of your marketing time do you spend on your website, your blogging, SEO, and Google AdWords?
2%, probably.
All right, I was expecting it to be much more than that.
No, but mine's very low. I'm paying people to redo my website and write blogs for me. I hate doing it. It's the reason why I don't like it. I like copywriting. I don't like content writing. The two are very different. So no, I pay other people to do it because the stuff I focus on is the stuff that gets is most effective. It's the stuff that gets your leads in. It's the 80-20 rule. The actual lead generation, it brings in 80% of the work. This brings in 20. For me, it's a lot less, but I spend a lot less time on it.
Okay, so, and again, just to be sure, we're not saying you don't do this stuff, but we're saying when we talk to a lot of photographers, the number is flipped, that they're spending 80% on this and not even 20% or even 2% on figuring out how to use social media.
And the website, the blogging, that works. It works. It's just nowhere near as scalable as buying traffic. As in running paid ads. It's nowhere near as scalable.
I suppose, and that's a really good point, Brad, and I hadn't thought of that. And I suppose one of the reasons for that is that you talked about a little bit earlier, that you're in control of your marketing. So yes, when we build a really good website and we're blogging and SEO and Google AdWords, we're reliant on someone else taking action. We're reliant on someone else actually already aware doing their research and shortlisting us as a potential. While with Facebook and social media marketing, you're catching them before they're even aware. And we're going to talk about that now. Because what you do with your Facebook, just think about it. So your client is on this, aren't they? They're on their mobile phone and they're on Facebook and they're scrolling through their feed. And your advert appears in front of them. And at this stage, they have no idea they even need a photographer. So Brad calls this, they're blissfully unaware. They're blissfully unaware that they need a photographer. They're blissfully unaware that they need your service and what they're going to buy from you that makes a real difference to them. They don't yet understand the value of it, and they haven't yet got to a stage of searching Google to build their knowledge around it, to even consider who their shortlists are. So if you just think about the steps here, you're bringing them into your world at a much earlier stage before they have time to build their knowledge and consider who their shortlists are. So you're bringing them into your world when they're in emotional state, when they're connecting and catching up with their friends on Facebook and their family and seeing what they're doing and seeing what's happening in the world. So it's a completely different inquiry that you're going to get. And it's not even an inquiry. You're bringing them into your world really, really early, where you can train them. And train might be the right word, Brad, but you can explain to them the real difference that your service as a photographer makes to them. Brad, can you just talk to us about that and how you do that in your business?
Yes, so just to touch on that blissfully unaware thing as well. That's where everybody is. 95% of your target market sits in that blissfully unaware emotional state. Very, very few people are actively searching and want a photographer. So if you're trying to build a business and you're trying to scale it, you can't rely on people who actually know they want to come and have a photographic shoot. There's not enough of them. The phone's not ringing enough. You're not getting enough. Well, we certainly didn't get enough to fill our studio for a week. We had to market. We had to target the 95%. And the thing is that everyone's targeting those 5% of people who want that. Everyone's on Google. Everyone's running Google ads. Everyone's doing the SEO and all the blogging posts. They're all targeting the same people, whereas it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper to target people who have no idea. They have no idea they want to come and have a photography experience. We're educating them. We're making them aware that we exist, and then we're educating them about what a photographic experience is at Stand Plus Stand 2. So we're in the driving seat. We have control. Whereas when they're in that consideration stage, they're in control. That's like the really key difference. Because when you can build that knowledge, you can take, when they're in awareness stage, they might give you their name and an email address and a contact number. You can get in contact. You can build that relationship. You can build that rapport. They will book in with you, without even considering any other photographer. Because you've hit them when they're blissfully unaware, and they think that only you exist.
So Brad, that's a great point. And another point I want to make on this, Brad, is because you've talked about it, and I think it's something that's often missed with this, is control.
Yeah.
And I know you've told me stories of photographers laughing at you when you say you don't have seasonality in your business. But the reason you don't have seasonality in your business to the same degree as most photographers is that you're in control of your marketing. So you have systems using Facebook that you turn on and off as you need to generate your leads that you then turn into bookings, that you then turn into paying clients, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's just go to the next slide then. So, and you've sort of led this. So Facebook's around a long time, Brad, and photographers have been using Facebook for a long time. But it is a little bit of a new opportunity for the reasons you've just mentioned, that very few photographers know how to use it right. So Brad works in BSA, I work in BSA. So we work for Business Success Academy, and our mission is to help photographers to master this area, to be able to take this knowledge that we know and have done and turn it into something that works for your business. So we concentrate on this stage of the buying process of making your potential clients aware that they need you and no one else, that they build their knowledge about what you do as a photographer and the difference you make to them and the value you bring without they considering anyone else, so that you bring them into your world and through this process without they ever doing a Google search about newborn photography or boudoir photography or wherever your photography is. So Brad, I think we'll jump in, Brad, now and just explain, a client goal lead and why it's the client goal lead, but the systems around it, right? The frameworks around it as to what do I need to do as a photographer to do this? So in BSA, Brad, we've loads of different systems and loads of different funnels. So can you just if we just talk about some of these, we'll talk about some in detail, but can you just give a 30-second overview? We're going to deep dive into the register to win funnel, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to talk about that, but can you just give us sort of a 30-second overview as to what these are? So if I asked you what a gift with purchase funnel is, what is a gift with purchase funnel?
So a gift with purchase funnel is it's a form of direct offer. So we're hitting somebody with an offer in the ad copy to get them to follow through onto the landing page. And a part of that offer is centered around them having a gift with that purchase. So some of our photographers have been doing it with gift bags. I'm trying to think what Janine's main one was, Ronan, with her gift with purchase.
Well, Janine's done a couple. So she's done her wizard funnels, right? Yeah. Where she had a wizard wand if you did your Harry Potter shoot.
Yep, that's the one. So that one was very successful. So Janine runs, she's also a mentor at BSA. She ran a wizard themes portrait shoot. Her gift with purchase was that everyone who purchased the shoot also got a gift wand. So it's just giving somebody that extra incentive, in terms of like a physical product as well, because that really helps when you're running funnels. People really respond well in actually getting something physical and actually seeing the product to boost those sales and get those bookings in.
And a lot of photographers think that the gift has to be photography related, right? And it can be, but it doesn't have to be.
No. Oftentimes it works better when it's non-photography related.
So Brad, what's a direct offer funnel?
So a direct offer is where you're just going straight in with an offer. There's no need to kind of warm the audience up. You've gone straight in with an offer that could be 50% off. So discounts, midweek availability type of thing. That's a call to action I use an awful lot. Limited availability. So you're going in straight with an offer to get them to engage on your page and then to book with you.
So a direct offer that you would run, I think you just said there, is so you recognize that, you're always very busy at the weekends and people are off, but there may be, so you have an offer that if someone comes in on a Wednesday, that there's a special offer for coming in on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's basically a 50% session fee reduction, and that's not an issue to me at all, because, I'm not in the business of selling session fees. I want people to buy albums and wall art. So it, and a key thing to remember on Facebook is that a big reason why ads work and ads don't work is the offer, is your reason why somebody should click it, so that's why direct offers work, because you're giving them a really great reason to click your ad.
Right. So and I know there's a whole lot of other funnels that we have, but I think we'll move on because we don't have time to go through all them. But just to say that, you have various funnels, Brad, that you turn on and off as you need, right, to fill your studio with leads and bookings. So you would recommend to a photographer that they have 3 or 4 different types of funnels that they can turn on and off as needed to generate the leads and bookings into the business.
Yeah, that is exactly what I do. I have different ads for the same genre, different ads for different genres. I have a calendar or diary, and I mark out when I'm going to run an ad, and I turn it on. I have a rough idea of how many leads I'm going to get. If I don't get what I want, I can leave the ad on for a bit longer and spend a bit more money. But I know my budget. I know what I can get. I can just turn those on and off. And that's what we're trying to teach to other people, to build that system in, to to give them control.
So, Brad, I want to talk about this register to win funnel. And why am I picking this one out? I'm picking this one out because a lot of people will be familiar with a concept that they might think it's the same as this and confuse it. And this is why we call it a register to win as against a competition funnel, because it's not, it doesn't work the same as a competition funnel, right? But I just want to just show people just the steps, the important steps that somebody needs to take. And in BSA, we've sort of brought all of our funnel types back to the principle of panning for gold, right? So when you're panning for gold and you go up into the creek or wherever, you pretty much follow a system similar to this. And for us, marketing is like panning for gold. It's panning for ideal client gold, right? Those clients are going to spend the most with you. So that's why we use this. So hopefully some of you have panned for gold before, so you understand some of this. But Brad, can you just take us through the steps? So the first step we have here is identify your client gold. Why is that important?
You need to know who your target market, who your target client is, so that you can write copy that connects with them. So a big issue we find with Facebook is people use Facebook's amazing targeting features to put in all the information about their target customer, who lives in a detached 4-bed house, who drives a white Audi, mum, dad, 2 kids. But that's wrong. That's not what you should do. You should leave that broad and write copy that connects with that client. So that's how you do your filtering. It's important that you write copy that when your ideal client is scrolling through their Facebook, it's going to jump out at them. They're going to read it. It's going to connect with them. They're going to click.
So what you're saying to me there, Brad, is that it's a bit like a love letter, isn't it? So you're writing to your client. You need to know as much as you can to be able to write that love letter that connects, which is your ad copy. But when you're actually targeting them on Facebook, you keep your targeting really broad and you rely on the love letter to connect with your client gold. Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So then the next step then, if you've ever gone panning for client gold, you got to have the right gear with you, right? The right equipment, because otherwise you ain't going to find it. So like if you don't have your shovels to dig out that pay dirt from behind a rock where the water isn't running deep, because gold is heavier than anything else. So it sinks to the bottom, but it's hidden in behind. And that's called pay dirt, right? So we need to make sure we've got the right equipment. But the next step, Brad, is, gathering that pay dirt. So I have my shovel, which is my ad, yeah, and my ad is connecting with the client on Facebook, and we bring them out of Facebook into our world, which is our register to win funnel. So funnel is a fancy name for what, Brad?
A funnel's basically a landing page.
So it's a page I build like my website, but it's built to have no distraction other than convert the traffic that we create, traffic being people, from our Facebook adverts onto this website page that's a landing page that has no distractions.
Yeah, exactly. It's sign up or leave are the only 2 options clients will have. So I mean, we say funnel a lot, but funnel's just it's a process in which we take customers from having no idea who we are, take them through our complete process from clicking on an ad, signing up, us getting in contact with them, coming to the studio, and then eventually purchasing. So that's a funnel. It's that customer journey, take them all the way through.
So Brad, just to recap on that. So for those who have panned for gold will know this, but those who haven't might know it. So when we have our shovel, which is our ad, and we take the people and we put our pay dirt into our bucket, yeah. In the same way, we're bringing people with our advert from Facebook to this landing page for the register to win funnel, and there will be client gold in there, and there will be pyrite, and there'll be some dirt, right?
Yeah.
And everyone you bring from Facebook to this landing page will not be gold. So we've got to have a way then, and I'm jumping to step 6 because we'll come back on the others in a second. So step 6 then, when we get our pay dirt in our bucket, we have to have a way of classifying the pay dirt. So when we're panning for gold, what we do is we put the pay dirt into this sieve thing, and the muck falls through the holes in it, and we're left with gold and some stones in the top. And our gold is gone with the dirt into a thing underneath it that we're going to pan for client goal later. So Brad, on your register to win funnel, how do you classify all these people who come to the landing page to determine whether they might be pyrite or gold or dirt?
So I ask questions. So obviously you're going to want to take down name, email address, contact number. You want that to be able to get in contact with the client for the future. The extra questions that I use, I'll always ask for a postcode, and I'll always ask why would they love to have this experience. So both those questions are really crucial for me to know who is my client goal. The postcode lets me know what area that initially, or zip code, what area that customer's coming from. I know all the areas around me where my best customers come from. I can see a postcode and it resonates with me. I can picture where they are. And then that referencing question is people will put, are brutally honest with you. You know, they will tell you that they've got no money and just want to win it for something fun to do, or they'll completely tell you their life story, you know, and actually try and connect with you on an emotional level. And obviously you're going to call that person. So when you do it and you do it right, your ideal clients will just jump out at you.
So when you've done that initial classification, Brad, in the same way as we've sifted our pay dirt, yeah, we then pan for the goals. So when we're panning for gold, like we take it and we put it on a pan and we put some water around it, and you've all seen it in the movies if you haven't done it yourself, to find out what the gold is. So the panning process for this then is going through all those people who register to win,
yeah,
and determining then the answers that they've given you to those questions for you to find out who's likely to be the ideal client gold, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And to some of the questions, you might have someone who says, I want free picks. They're not an ideal client. And you have other people who tell you their life story about why they want a family portrait shoot because how important their family are, and give you a life story, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're panning for gold, Brad, you know, when we do the panning and we find the gold bits and we take those out, right? The bit that's left, the concentrate that's left, we don't throw it away because there can be other little bits of gold in there. So the leads that you generate that aren't immediately gold, you don't throw that away, right?
Oh, yeah, no, never.
You bring them into your world to nurture through your system. So for your business, for your boudoir business, what do you do with them?
So we filter all those into eventual to end up on email lists. So with the funnel, we'll have an email sequence that follows that, generally for around 3 days. After that, they get put into our newsletter. So and they'll go on our monthly mailing list, and we'll email out to all our clients. And you'd be surprised at customers that are on that list who have filled in this form that you didn't connect with for whatever reason, and then 6 months, a year down the line, they get an email from you, they phone up, they book a session, they come in and they spend great. And that's free. You know, I've already ran the ad. You know, the ad was a year ago. I've ran the ad. I got my return on investment from it, and then all this is just an added bonus. So
Brad,
don't.
And Brad, the tools have changed, right? But this is nothing new, is it? Like I started selling first in 1989. 1989 is a long time ago. But the salespeople who were really good salespeople were the salespeople, and the highest performing ones were the ones that were persistent and kept in contact with a client even when they weren't ready to buy now. And the latest data that's out says that it hasn't changed, that 50% of all leads that you interact with will never buy from you no matter what you do. In fact, if you gave them a red Ferrari for free, they'd want a black one.
Yeah.
50% of the leads will buy from you at some stage, but only 15% of those are ready to buy now. And the other 85% will buy from you between 3 months and 24 months. Now, that was based on not photography, right? That was based on all purchases, regardless of whether it's a Mars bar or a Boeing jet. Yeah, that's the sequence that people go to. So this nurturing idea, Brad, is really important, that just because someone isn't ready to buy now, you need to back up all this activity with a sequence of strategies to stay in contact with that client, nurture them along the way so that when they are ready to buy, you're front of mind, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Brad, tell me. So this sounds very like a competition funnel. So there's only one winner.
No, so with the way I run my register to win funnels, that they're registering to win a gift certificate for a boudoir shoot, family shoot, newborn, whatever. We've got photographers doing it for all different types of experiences. That the register to win the experience. That's it. It's not some big grand prize that's worth thousands. It is the the experience and maybe some studio credit. That's how we run ours. And then that is open to let me have as many winners as I want. So depending on how many bookings I need to fill in, that'll be how many winners I'll have. So I mean, generally, it's not something I run every month. I'll run it every now and again. I'll run it and it's fantastic to book in short term. You know, it's a very short term advert. If you need bookings in next week, it's the perfect funnel to run.
So what you're saying to me is that this particular funnel, this is how you fill gaps in your diary as well, or your calendar. So
Yeah.
if you see 3 weeks out that you have a soft spot, you will turn this on, generate leads, turn them into bookings, and fill them into those slots.
Yeah, and it's a great way because obviously this will be, well, it is for me anyway, the cheapest funnel you'll run in terms of impressions, clicks, leads, and then you ultimately cost per booking. So it's a way for me to keep my overall cost per booking down across the studio. So that's the main reason I use it.
Excellent. So Brad, I don't have any questions. So I think Alina, if I pronounced that right, apologies if I'm not, please forgive my accent. So do you use ClickFunnels for this, or could you do it on your own website? You can do both.
Yep.
So ClickFunnels, for those who don't know, it's just a piece of software that allows you build out landing pages in a certain way, and it can be easy to use. That's what that is. But we do have people within Business Success Academy who build their own on whatever platform they want. So I hopefully that answers your question. I'm surprised there's not more questions. There's no more questions there for Brad, is there? Okay, well, here's the obvious question. So Brad, to get more of this and understand more, so Business Success Academy, just for people who don't know, it's part of the same company that 3XM, and for those in the UK know Photo Value as well. And our mission has always been to help photographers master the business of photography. So we are so confident of the difference this makes to our members that we allow them come into our world for absolutely free, right? And we allow them. And before we explain the work, I'm going to share my screen again. I'm just sharing so I don't forget to do it. Just a link for those who want to. So you can come into our world for 2 weeks absolutely free. So if you click on that link, you can come into our world absolutely free. But I do want to share with you just what BSA is all about, Business Success Academy. So Brad already mentioned that Business Success Academy, he's a mentor in there, as is Janine, as is Jonathan is a member of Business Success Academy, and you've me in there as well. And we've some other mentors coming on board very, very soon to do certain things. But for us and for me, and why we've built this as a membership group, is that truly to master something quickly and fast track your success requires 3 things. So if you imagine a stool with 3 legs and there's one leg missing, what's going to happen when you sit on that stool? It's going to fall over, right? And the same is with this. So our approach to this has been a 3-legged stool approach. We provide knowledge through training. So we provide you all the training to implement these systems that we've designed that work for photographers every single day and implement it in your business. We also supply mentorship. So we give you support through mentorship. And then thirdly, the third key leg to any stool to fast track your success is accountability. And we bring that through community. And we have an amazing community in BSA. They are absolutely an amazing community of fellow photographers who are adopting these systems into their business. And you will learn as much from them as you will from us. So if you want to join us and you want to test us out, and you want to test us out for free, just sign up for our 2-week trial. It'll cost you nothing but time. Nothing ever costs nothing, right? So it costs you time and effort. And everyone within the BSA community moves at different paces. But in theory, you could choose to come in, stay the 2 weeks, learn what works for you and leave. Most don't, because they love the community and there's always stuff changing and we're always bringing out new things that help in that. But there's the link. Join us if you can. And it will make a difference. We're there to help you. We're there to assist you. Brad, have you any last words for our guests?
Persistence pays off. I've often been called like a guru. I'm not a guru. I'm just persistent. I've just been persistent with marketing, with Facebook, to the point now where it works, and it works for me. It can work for anybody.
And Brad, we have plenty of clients who, to answer that question, you can't generate client gold on Facebook. We've people who are getting in excess of $3,000 averages. You get 4-figure averages all the time in excess of that. And you built your business up to that. So, that's a myth. That's not true. And what you can do, and here's a really important point, is if you combine this with your other marketing activities and your community and your reach out programs and your vendor partners and your charity programs, and you combine that with what's here, you get the marketing multiplier. Yeah. You won't get, you'll get 2x with this, you get 1x the other stuff. Put the two together, you'll get 10x. It really does make it. Yes, guru, own it. You are a guru, Brad. You are a guru. And unfortunately, it's a pity Janine couldn't join us tonight, because Janine's a genius too, isn't she? Because we're all different, aren't we, in BSA, Brad? We all bring slightly different skill sets and different things to the party. Yeti says you're Bradius. I like that, Yeti. We're obviously joined by a couple of BSA members tonight. So I see that we've had, who have we had? We've had April, who's in BSA, put a question in. We've had Yeti. So it's great to see you there. Oh, there's a Q&A. There's a question. Plans for a BA conference gathering, Davey Dave. Yeah, we will someday, Davey Dave, have a conference and a gathering. So with the pandemic, we can't right now. But obviously, those of you who know 3XM, we have our future photography event. So obviously BSA and 3XM will be working together on that for the next one. So we will have a conference. And where we have a virtual conference, we've played around with that too. But we're so busy. We are so busy in BSA at the moment, because we really want our members to have success. So we're putting an awful lot of effort to help our members to ensure that they have success and they turn this into their success. And then they become advocates, and they become our team of people who tell all the other photographers around the world that this stuff does work. So, Brad, I think that's it for tonight on the Think Tank. I thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. We learn so every time I talk to you, I learn something new. It's amazing. So, thank you for sharing. You're very open with what you share. This stuff works, guys. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. It will make a difference. It will help you master another aspect of the business of photography. If you haven't joined BSA Mastermind, which is our free group, we're currently running a 7-week challenge to create your 2-page business success plan to fast track your success next year in 2021, to make it your best year in business yet. So if you're not ready to join us, click on the link there. Do join us for free in BSA Mastermind. Come in there, because there will be more content around this too as you build out your business success plan for 2021. So I don't think there's any more questions there, Brad. So I think we'll call it a wrap. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you all soon. Don't forget, if you can, join us for the 2-week trial. And now's a great time to do it. Get yourself set up for 2021 and make it your best year in business yet. Bye for now.
See you later.